Thank you. Good morning. My clicker. How's everybody doing? Thank you for coming. This microphone sounds awesome, and AV Metro's in the back, always hooking us up with the best sound and video ever. And before I even start, we're talking about community, and we're talking about metaphors, and we're talking about all these things. Cam can't throw and catch, and that's where Creative Mornings comes in. That's where people like AV Metro and Frank Thompson come in. Frank's here, he hates when I recognize him, but you all need to know we're standing in a space that has taken years and years of blood, sweat, tears, and ultimately belief in our community. When we think about lost and what that means, this is the space where you don't feel lost. This is the space where everybody belongs. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that today, but when I talk about it, I'm not talking about me, this is a we. The pronoun today is we, because it's all of us, so lost. I was talking to Vishali, and she's like, well, what songs do you wanna hear? And I gave her a list, and then I took it back because they were so, I don't know that you want to know like about my Sade, my Peter Gabriel, and like my LL Cool J. And then the more I looked at the list, the more I was like, these are all like love songs. So this is a little bit of a love letter to all of you and to Raleigh. And I think you should start, you should know, this picture might not tell you, but I'm not an artist. And I have no idea why anybody is laughing right now. This is some of my early work. It is a frog soap dish, circa 1979. I went to the studio every week and made a lot of gifts for people, and this is one. I have not changed that much. There's a lot to be said for consistency. I think the white shirts on the inside, I wanted to wear a cape because everything I'm gonna tell you today is Captain Obvious. White shirt, statement bag, I've got pockets now because I'm always losing my wallet, so I kind of gave up on the bag. Dark denim always. The patches are on the inside now because Raleigh denim has this really cool thing where you can't see the patch, but I haven't changed that much. So CAM is a space about belonging, and what Vishali told you about some of the things we do, who we are and what we believe is that everybody belongs here. Not everybody is in the room today, and I think we're always thinking about who else should be at the table, who else should be in the room. So I'm always thinking about that when we think. So belonging is two things, that's right, being and longing. And when we come together and we think about who we are and what's missing from who we are, it's all about longing. And then I was thinking about those songs and like that silly Sade song, I can't even remember the words, but like, oh no, when I'm lost, I will find you and I will bring you home. And that's what music does, and that's what art does, and that's what CAM does, and that's why I wanted to talk about lost. Because it's a long game, right? It's a long game. And when we think about who we are as a community, we gotta plan for years and years ahead. So really what I wanna talk about is not being lost, it's lost prevention. Well, it's not a typo, lost prevention. How do we do that? Well, maybe we start by being a lost leader, and I'm punning here like crazy because that's what I do. So when you think about who you are and where you come from and what's next, we're all looking for a connection. And the middle school one was a little bit easy because that's where we started, but we're always teaching this program to people that are 11 and 12, and when you think about, like when you're on your knees as a little kid, if I told you and learned everything that middle school kids learn when I was 12, like I would be amazing. Like I don't suck that bad, but how much better could we all be if we felt less lost when we were 12, 13, and 14, right? Everybody's nodding their head. And so let's take ourselves back to that time, but then stay in the now. And I'm not quite sure what that means or how to do that, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. So really, when we talk about belonging and we talk about who we are and what CAM does for the community, we're a confidence machine. And what does that even mean? What is confidence? I've been thinking about it a lot. It's with full truth. And we think about self-confidence, and we've got all these things that we do and all these things that we believe in, but if you don't trust me, and you don't like me as a person, am I really ever gonna be that confident? So confidence is an agreement between two people. Self-confidence is important, but it's an agreement between two people with full truth. So when you think about who you are and what you do every day and the way that you are in the world and that we're in this community, that's what I want us to think about today, with full truth. Do we believe in each other? Because if you don't believe me, you don't trust me, we don't have that full truth. Can we believe in each other? Right? We can. And I think the thing that's so crazy cool about where we live in the triangle and who we are is we're the size as a city where we can. Like, we don't live in a place that we can't think about each other every day and care about each other every day. If you're confident in your ideas, what else can you do? And you already are. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? I wore the cape today because I am Captain Obvious. Everything that I'm gonna say you already know, and you're gonna leave, you're like, I didn't really learn anything new. Thought I was gonna learn a lot. Because you already have, it's like the Gatorade commercial, and it's like the Nike ad. Everything you need is already inside you. That Killer song is my favorite. I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier. It's my favorite Nike ad. Over and over again, you see all these athletes and artists just falling and failing and falling and failing. And you watch that commercial and you're just like, yes, I can do it. It's a different way to think about it. So I'm gonna give you 7 things. And again, Captain Obvious, I didn't make these up. I'm just putting them together. And the idea and the connection is here. What can we do to feel less lost? And don't answer this question, don't even nod your head. We got our phone, we're walking down the street, but sometimes there's this absence of love and connection. You love your family, you love the community, you love your job, but there's just something missing. What is missing? And I like to think that we're all in the room today because that's what we're looking for, that little thing, that little nugget, token of belonging that's missing. So how do we give it to each other as a gift? How do we use full truth to talk about who we are as a community and who we are as each other? 7 tools. You want to do it? Okay, remember, we have them. You already have them. Everything you need is already inside. Your posture is your brand. You got to stand for something. Every time I say the word posture, everybody goes like this. I saw you didn't even know you did it. Your posture is your brand. And these are the 7 tenets that the docent program is made up of. And so all the things that I'm talking about, I wanted to share with you because middle schools are getting the benefit of this information, and you see them all the time and you think it's magic. There's a little bit of magic, and there's definitely some secret sauce. Molly Earls is here. She's my co-teacher in that program. There's a little bit of secret sauce. But the core of it is, if you like a young person and you trust a young person, you're gonna believe in them. So let's believe in each other. Let's level up and do the posture thing as adults. Your posture is your brand. And so what we say when we're teaching that, we're not teaching it, we're coaching it and we're improving it. Everyone already has it. So you gotta put your shoulders back, right? And you gotta just, this is not good posture. You gotta relax, you gotta find your way. You gotta decide, where am I gonna put my feet? Where do my shoulders go? What am I gonna look at? What am I gonna do with my hands? So all these things seem fundamental, but if you feel physically weird, you can't look people in the eye. And where's Louis Cherry? So Louis and I worked together a long time ago, and one of the things that we were working on is helping designers articulate their ideas better. And one of the things that I noticed over and over again were these wonderful artists and these wonderful designers, they couldn't articulate their ideas. Not that they weren't brilliant, but all the things that we're all afraid of all the time they weren't doing. There's a grown, brilliant woman standing up there, and her posture's like this, and her hair's in her face, and she's freaking out. So let's teach her how to do that better. And the first one is posture. When you walk into a room and you stand up a little bit straighter, you got it. Your posture's your brand. And then the other piece of that is, what do you stand for? Because if you're just standing there with no ideas, nothing behind that, no substance, it's not a thing. And so what we try to do is just stand up straight, but be yourself when you stand up straight. Oh my God. It's not hard. But are we doing it, or are we like this all the time, walking down the street? I'm just looking at the news. I'm not even nobody's texting me. There's no emergency, but I just don't feel like talking to anybody. So I'm in a super important meeting with my London team and a couple of stockbrokers right now. Put your phone down. It's so easy. good morning. Good morning. We live in a city where we can do that for each other every single day, so let's just do it. If the middle school kids are making eye contact, why can't we do it? And so the idea, again, let's trust each other. Let's do some full truth. And you don't have to give everything away. Maybe you're having a crap day. A little bit of eye contact goes a really long way. And so again, you're in the museum. All of our docents have had this training. They learn about art every week. They learn about who they are. But what's magical is that they engage you, and you've already decided you like me. You trust me. It's a conversation, but that's what confidence is, with full truth. Anyone? Right? It's easy and it's free, and I don't want to stand up here and be like, well, if you just smiled more, everything would be all right, because that is not what I mean. In 2005, I think, The New Yorker published a story by Tad Friend, who's this really, really wonderful writer. And the article was about the Golden Gate Bridge. And it was about how there was a lot of people in San Francisco that wanted to net the bridge because so many people saw that bridge as a gateway to another world. And I don't mean that in a science fiction way. They were struggling with depression or something, and they wanted to jump off. And so the article sort of meandered through what the city was doing about that, what the community was doing about that, and then it sort of went into these different stories about people that had survived and people that had not survived. And I don't tell you this to bring you down. I tell you this because this is one of the most powerful things that I ever read. In researching the article, the writer found a note on somebody's dresser, and the note said, I'm going to the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm going to jump. And if one person smiles at me on the way, I will come back. He didn't come back. And I don't tell you that to bring you down. I tell you that to blow your mind and bring you up, because if one person smiles at you, it could change your life. And that's, to me, what full truth is. Give it away. You have it. It's free. We are together. It's the triangle. It's Raleigh with full truth. And that's the secret sauce that middle school kids have. They're not geniuses. Everyone's like, where are these mad genius kids coming from? How are you teaching that? So they smile at you, so as a human, you have decided that they are going places. Let's give that to each other. Smile with your heart. And here's the other piece of that, this is not a smile. We spend a lot of time practicing your real smile. So what we say is, think about your favorite cake. Think about your dog. Think about your sister. Think about a motorcycle. Think about something that makes you happy. Send it out. Smile with your heart. It's not hard. Don't try it right now, but just think about it. So you're doing it. Thank you, Marshall. You're doing it. It's not that hard. Smile with your heart. It's kind of an easy one. Those are my 3 favorites. I'm going to go through the other ones really fast. But posture, eye contact, smiling. You got the fundamentals. Keep thinking it through. Got it. Check, check, check. We talk a lot about tone of voice because in different environments, you want your voice to be in control. And you don't necessarily need this when you're walking down the street to say good morning. But if somebody says hello and you're like, hi, it all matters. We have so much control over humanity by doing these tiny little things. Confidence, love, with full truth. Okay, here's my favorite. And I will say that some of these were made up on purpose as tools to help adults think differently about young people. And I think we're all maybe over 23, maybe not, and that's okay if you're not. But the idea is, if I said to you, what color is the sky? And today it's gray. And you look outside and you're like, gray? You freaking know the sky is gray, so don't answer the question with the question. Young people, that's what adults hate. If you know the answer, you know the answer. Give me an exclamation point. Give me a period. Give me an ellipsis. Make it a little crazy. Don't answer the question with the question. Older people over 50, over 60, over 70, it's the one thing that middle school kids do that they cannot stand. And so if you don't do it, like, wow, Kendra is brilliant because she knows what color the sky is definitively. It's not hard, but I think it's really easy when you're tired just to be like, I don't know, whatever. So don't whatever it. Don't answer with a question, punctuate it like you mean it. And not everything has to be an exclamation point. I never used to use exclamation points in my texts or in my writing, and people were like, dude, do you even care about me? So I was like, I do, but it just like, I thought that was Jonathan's laughing. I thought that was a mark that was for very special occasions. So I try to use it more now as a way to put that out there. It's a type of smiling with your heart, more exclamation points. And again, let me back up and tell you that a lot of the ideas in this program, these 7 things, it was also because I watched adults discount young people all the time. That's what it was really about, is when you look at, if you look at me, I'm in middle school again, my hair, it's similar, you saw it hasn't changed that much. I'm shorter, and I have a little bit of a crappy posture, and when I look at you, don't look you in the eye, and I'm mumbling a little bit. That was me mumbling. You as a human, because we all make snap judgments, you as a human, we as the human have decided, well, she's probably not from a very good family. She's probably not going to go to college. Like, who knows what else is going to go wrong? We decide, and it's not bad. We can't help it. It's who we are as humans. But we can coach ourselves to connect more so that everybody decides in the same way. I see you. I like you. I trust you. Listen. And here's how you listen. Hold on, where's my other tool? Don't be looking around to see who's behind, who else is coming in the room that's more important than you. What else am I doing later? Let me get back on my phone. Listen. It's so easy. And what we talk about with young people is you don't have to be ready with an answer. If you meet an artist and you're like, I gotta think of something really cool to say. I gotta know, what is that thing? You know who was a really good listener? Yoda. And was Yoda really even that smart? And I don't want to blow your Star Wars. So this is not like, I'm not crushing on your Star Wars like ruination here. Yoda was a really good listener. And he didn't answer right away. I mean, if you think of what he said, was it really that brilliant? Or was it was kind of Captain Obvious in every situation. You just turn around the sentences. Listening makes people feel like you care about what they're saying. And again, it's Captain Obvious. You probably do it all the time, but you're not thinking about it like that. Listen with your whole body. And I don't mean lean in. I just mean look somebody in the eye and really try to take in what they say. And if you don't know what to say back, just Yoda it for a little while. And here's the other thing. When we're walking and working with our docents, there's a whole bunch of information they don't know. And so what we've taught them to say is, I'm still working on that. I'm still studying that. I haven't really thought about that yet. I'm still thinking that through. There's a million ways to answer that are better than just, I don't know. It's all in the delivery. And so again, what we're teaching our young people about confidence are things that we can all also take away. And this is kind of a no-brainer, but is it really? Like, what does it really mean to be on a team? It means if you suck at shooting, don't shoot the ball. Right? It's Captain Obvious, but I think as humans, we all want to participate and we want everybody to see our hustle. But sometimes seeing your hustle is passing the ball. Full disclosure, I stunk at almost every sport. And right? But nobody remembers that because I was a hustler. And what that means is, in lacrosse, in the 90s, there was no out of bounds in college lacrosse. And this sounds like a small thing, but I built my whole athletic career on this one important piece of information, because that means if the ball rolls all the way to Raleigh-Denham and I get there first, I get the ball and give it to somebody who can score a goal. I was a terrible catcher, but I loved playing and I loved being on the team, and that was my contribution. Like, run all the way. You've seen those fields at NC State. I can't think of the name. It goes like 10 miles. Like, I'll get it. And that was being on the team. I knew I was not going to be the high scorer because I was not a good scorer, but I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to give it to somebody else. And the reason I'm spending so much time on that is we forget. We don't have to do everything in any situation. If you're better at a certain thing, do that thing. But if you're not, let somebody else do that thing, because that's what it really means to be on a team. And then once you feel that, you got to remember, just being on the team sometimes is enough. And what that means is you got to believe you belong on the team. You belong on the team. And to me, the team is Cam, and then every circle goes out from there. It's the Warehouse District, it's Raleigh, it's all our amazing, amazing neighbors downtown. It's the Triangle, it's North Carolina, it's the world. There's a team going on here. And if we have full trust, if we're confident, and we believe in each other, and we believe in each other on those days that we suck, and we can't catch the ball, that's what makes us really strong as a city. And when we talk about why the docents feel unstoppable, it's pretty simple. They're standing next to a motorcycle, they're talking about the bike, and there's somebody else listening, engaging, nodding, validating them. I affirm you, I believe you, I like you, I trust you. So there's a lot, like, they're like, wow, that's the secret sauce. It's not hard. Let's do a little recap. Your posture's your brand. Thank you for sitting up straight. Make eye contact. Smile with your heart. Don't answer a question with a question. I mean, come on, you guys, that's 101. We all do it. Don't be afraid of the silence. Think about a poem and the white space in between a poem or a song lyric. That's your Yoda. Listen. And then practice. That's the other thing that I think is really special about how we think about who we are every day. Like, in the context of middle school, it's practice. We go through things over and over again. But in the context of Cam and us, it's life. It's a hustle. And every day we have to decide, we have to wake up. And I think it's not a small thing. What each of us overcomes every day to get here, whether it's childcare or having to get somebody to cover for us at work, or just taking a shower. I mean, you guys look great. All of those things are things that we have to step over and overcome just to get here. And I think part of being on the team is reminding us that that matters. Being in the room, waking up, being together, that's the team. And we got to take that all day, every day. Be on the team. And that is how we lead each other out of a feeling of lost. And I don't want to oversimplify, because I know there's so much inside us all the time that is a struggle and a fight, and it's different. And we need more people in the room, we need more people on the team. But in this space, in this time, in this moment, today and tonight, it's just us. And if we think differently, if we have full trust, that's what confidence is, we'll feel less lost. I think. What do you think? So this is your space, this is my space, and this is our time in this city. What are we going to do with it that's different and special? We have to tell each other every day that we belong together. And that is not a Pat Benatar song, but it is. And that is not on my playlist, but I'm sorry. We belong together in this city in this community, in this time. This is who we are, and it takes all of us. And when I think about being lost, this is where I come. It changes all the time. This is where I want you to come. But on the way here, I want you to make eye contact with somebody, put a little bit of that trust. I like you, I trust you. This is our city, this is our time. You belong here. That's all I got.
We have some time for questions. There are mics on both sides. Danny?
Thanks so much, Gab. Wow, I think I speak on behalf of everybody when I say that we're glad you came from that lost, frumpy, disheveled, mumbling, I think you said, child, right, to the dynamic, exquisite individual that you are that is Raleigh right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you bet. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So the question I have is about strangers. I think you talked a little bit about here, and we did some exercises early on, which I thought were great. The area is growing a lot, and there are a lot of strangers and strange people, however you determine them to be. The question is your take on stranger danger versus the opportunity of a stranger. And just to elaborate a little bit more on what you talked about earlier, because I think that opportunity is something that, you know, I really think we've got to work on.
So should I start? Are there any lawyers in the room, or is anybody wearing a wire? I would start with a little bit of a disclaimer. There's gonna be situations where eye contact might be the best thing, but I'm a romantic, glass half full. What I believe is if you can, maybe it's just a nod. Maybe it's not appropriate in every situation, but I feel like we have to try harder to remind people in our community, everybody, I see you. And I think it can start and it work its way out. So there's gonna be situations where stranger danger it's very real, and if you do engage somebody, you might get more than you're thinking in terms of somebody might ask you for help or somebody might tell you your story. So I think as individuals, we all have to decide what makes sense. And it's that thing where you go with your gut, right? Trust your instinct. And so if it's not right, maybe don't do it. But if we do it more, I think we'll get a better sense of when it's appropriate, when it feels right, and when it doesn't. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have more of a comment and then my question. You are a great role model for women. And where'd you get the shoes?
Thank you. The shoes are from the store. Yeah. But they help me with my good posture. And I played a little bit of basketball when I was younger, and I always wanted to be more of a center, but I self-identify as a guard just because of my size. And I felt like the height helps sort of get me there in terms of what you don't know when you're gonna have to dunk on somebody, so you gotta be ready. Thank you.
Any other questions in the back? Oh, Greg.
Thank you. Gab, we met 30-something years ago, and I remember that occasion on a breezeway at NC State. And even then, you had this air of curiosity about you, and so I'm wondering if there was some special turning point in your life when you switched from that little kid into the woman that you are now.
I think every day is a turning point, and I don't mean to sound like a self-help book. I try to stay curious, and I try to remember that I don't know a lot about a lot. And so I'm just always trying to think about what I don't know. What else can I think about? What else can I read? What can I consume to understand more about who everybody is? So there's no right answer. There was no turning point. I think it's just always trying to think about what don't I know. And just, I don't want to say that I feel dumb, but I feel like I could always learn more. There's always more to learn. So quiet in here, like we got so serious. Like, are you guys okay? Like, let's have some like laughing and eye contact. Okay, cool.
Sorry to make you run. I I just had a question about it was so fun on First Friday to come and see these motorcycles and walking around reading some of the descriptions. I got over to the corner and this middle schooler looked at me and put his hand in front of where I was reading and said, "Don't read that, I'm right here, ask me." Wow. And it's so cool to see middle schoolers teaching adults hey, would you like to interact with me? I'm here for a reason. Do you have any favorite stories or most improved moments from, I assume, you kind of get to watch middle schoolers start from, I don't want to talk to people.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So what is there a favorite? There's so many favorite moments. And a couple of kind of long game moments are that there were people that we worked with 6 years ago that are now going to college. And I am writing their letters of recommendation. And the one magical moment was when a mom came in. The child couldn't come because she was still in school. She brought me the acceptance letter, and it read, "We were very impressed with your work at CAM as a docent and an intern." Right? So that's the long game magic of the docent program. And again, all people are exceptional. We didn't make that happen, but we helped it happen. And I'll tell you my other favorite story is, so we talk a lot about practice, and it sounds like, it's great, we're at CAM, having our snack, and it's so fun. But we work really hard. And one of the things we work on a lot is physical confidence. My name is Kendra. I go to Moore Square Middle School. I'm in 6th grade, and you got to have your posture, eye contact, all these things together, and we do it over and over and over. Jonathan, you saw us do it that night when we were getting ready for hopscotch. And sometimes people break down, and I'm not trying to break all middle school. We're not in there to break everybody down and build them back up. It's not like that. But one of the kids had to step out, and he put his head on his desk, and he was crying because he was really, really stressed, and he couldn't do it. And then 3 weeks later, he was back. He practiced. He overcome whatever he was dealing with. We talked a lot about it. And then a year went by, and he was still in the program, and we were at just sort of this celebration. And I was like, "Remember how upset you were that day when you couldn't do it and you having sort of those moments where you weren't sure what was next?" He's like, "I had allergies." And I love that he was ready with an answer. He's like, "I had allergies." I was like, "Oh, that's right, I remember now." So what I love is that all students get there on their own. And we bring it out. And I think the thing I wanted to remind you and share with you is you bring it out too, because if we didn't have the community to remind our young people that I trust you, I like you, I believe in what you're doing, it's not possible. And that's really what I wanted to convey. It's that two-way street. Confidence is between two people a lot of the time. You've got to have it inside, but there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah. We can take one more question. No, two. We'll do this and then. Yeah.
Thanks, Gab. That was awesome. That last bit just reminded me of something. Often we can put ourselves out there as the one that wants to see people and trust them and pull that out of them. But sometimes they, for very good reason, have their guard up because we're in a world that can be increasingly in need of distrust or guard. So what do you do when you hit a wall with somebody that you want to trust and engage with and say, "No, it's okay, trust me, let's connect as humans and as beautiful people here." So any tricks or tips you have for engaging?
So it's not a trick, but it is a trick. And I think what I try to do, it's a process. You can't take it personally, right? Nothing is personal. And if somebody gives you the Heisman or blocks you out or isn't ready, there's so much that every single human has to deal with every single day that we don't know about. And it's a practice. You have to remember there's so much more to any situation than you know, and it's never about you. And that's it's not easy because you're like, what an ass. But it's not about that. Maybe their dog just died. My favorite, I can't say favorite, a piece of art that I really like right now that's on view is the mural outside. And it's the story of Allen Iverson and his mom. And I won't go into it today, but at this moment of grief and presence for Allen Iverson was reduced to this soundbite, and that's all we remember about him. But if you learn the story of who he was and what he was actually saying the day that he talked about practice, there's so much more to that story, and it was a bad time in his life. And so that's sort of like, you got to remember, there's more to every story, and try not to take it personally. And just keep trying, I think, is probably the ultimate advice. I mean, that's part of being a hustler, right? You got to believe that there's people out there that we want to connect with. And we always believe that if this is the city we want it to be, we just got to keep trying. Don't give up.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm fairly new to Raleigh, and you've peppered your talk with mentions of Raleigh as a city and where we are now. And how would you define the identity of Raleigh, or what it's becoming, or what does it mean to you?
I won't define it. I think I'll just say what I want it to be and what I think it is and what I've decided.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's great.
Raleigh's a place where everybody belongs. And that's what we're hustling every day to make people feel that. And I think that one of the things that's different about our city is that if you have a cool idea, everybody wants to get to know you. And it's less about where you went to college or who your family is or like what you're gonna be or not be. And so I feel like that's what we're doing together. And it's my opinion, but I've decided, like, Raleigh is a place where we belong, and that's my work here at CAM, is doing our piece to make people feel a little bit less lost and like they belong. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gab. Let's give.
Thank you.
Yay!